Caterpie, the worm Pokémon, Metapod, the cocoon Pokémon, and finally Butterfree, the butterfly Pokémon. Welcome everyone, I'm Exceptional and I hope you are too. Today we will be exploring how quickly I can defeat Pokémon FireRed, including the Round 2 Elite Four, using only my starter Caterpie, whom I will allow to evolve. There are further details in the description, but my general rules are: I can only use my starter in battle, no items in trainer battles except held items, no glitches, exploits, or RNG manipulations, and I don't particularly like accuracy and evasion strategies, so I will tend to avoid them. I choose the nickname Flavorless because, well, we're gonna be Butterfree. I'm one character short, so I'll use the shorter version of Flavor even though it pains me slightly. Don't worry, in the script I'm still making sure to include the U. After my poll a few weeks ago asking which verses you would all like to see next, Butterfree vs Beautifly ended up being the least voted of the three, but still with a large percentage of you wanting to see it. Butterfree, among other early bugs, has been a common request on my channel since day one. So what better early bug than the one that so many of us used to solve Brock in our very first playthroughs of Generation 1. Butterfree stomped all over Brock in Gen 1, but in Gen 3 there's a bit of a complication. Onix has a new move, Rock Tomb, which gains the advantage of Stab or same type attack bonus, but worse than that, Flavorless is 4 times weak to rock moves. This complicates the Brock fight a little bit. Before we can fly free as a Flutterbee though, we have to become one. Caterpie is the worm Pokémon. I feel like this is appropriate because it's about as threatening as one. We only have to gain 2 levels, but that's hard enough as we can get beaten up pretty easily by even level 3 wild Pokémon. Look at the damage difference between ourselves and a level 4 wild Pidgey. This is obviously not a fight I should pick, so I decide to make a bit of a weird maneuver. Since we lost the fight at the lab, we have only managed to defeat a single wild Pokémon. I aim for Bug Catcher Charlie near the end of Viridian Forest. The reason is that he leads with a Metapod who can't attack us. It takes a bit of time to whittle down his health, but at least we're safe from attacks aside from his Caterpie who loves using String Shot. At the end of the battle we level up to 7 and evolve into our cocoon stage, Metapod. The problem is though, working through those Metapods cost nearly all of our tackle PP. This strategy worked to power us up a little, but we're miles from the Poké Center and now have to walk all the way back to heal. Perhaps this wasn't the best way of doing it after all. I'll skip to when we're heading back in. I now feel safe battling these trainers that have more Pokemon capable of attacking. A reason I enjoy writing my script for the first playthrough before doing the second is that while writing, I research things and ponder strategy while I go through my footage. I felt confident in taking on the trainers with Weedles now because of Shed Skin, which has a chance to drop status ailments like poison when affected by one. Our ability Shield Dust as a Caterpie was actually better because it prevents the secondary effect of attacks from happening, meaning we never would have gotten poisoned in the first place, but as a Metapod we now have more bulk to survive. It's a difficult balance to strike, but looking back at this I feel that simply grinding in the grass between Pallet Town and Viridian might be better in the second playthrough. Battling trainers is great, but we're so far from the Poké Center and lose a lot of time running back, now a second time. Alright, it's time for our final boss in Viridian Forest, Bug Catcher Sammy's Weedle. We defeat him without issue, but are not quite level 10. Luckily enough, on the last tile of Viridian Forest we get a wild encounter, but witness the danger that even this level 4 Weedle can pose to us. As a cocoon we're stronger than a worm, but not by much. We level up to 10, evolving into this wondrous Butterfree and learning Confusion, the move that made most of us fall in love with psychic moves as kids, even before we really knew what they were. Now, powered up, let's take our first stab at Brock. Confusion is a 50 base power move that uses our much stronger special attack, being double our physical attack, but it also targets Brock's special defense, which is significantly lower than the physical side again. 2 levels lower, Confusion rips his Geodude apart in 3 shots, just barely not being able to 2-shot him. Onix comes out, outspeeds, and 4 times super effective Rock Tomb deletes Flavorless. I reset a couple of times, defeating Camper Liam in between and leveling to 11 when something hit me. As a Metapod, I learned Harden. I try setting up 6 Hardens, maxing out our defense stat before taking out Geodude this time. With Geodude out of the way though, something interesting happens with Onix. I learned from my wonderful audience in the comments section that the AI sees Rock Tomb as a speed control more than a damaging move. Given that all of Brock's remaining Pokemon, which is just Onix, outspeed me, Rock Tomb now falls to a lower priority. Having set up Harden also means Rock Tomb can't knock us out in a single turn, thereby causing it to have an even lower priority. Lower than Bind and Tackle, for example, which are doing some chip damage at +6 defense, so we take out Brock for our first badge. Very cool. I just have to take a moment to thank all of you who helped to support my channel, be it with likes, comments, subscribing, or just kicking back and watching my videos. Thank you for being a part of my journey on YouTube and helping me become a better player and creator. I would love to hit 5,000 subs by the new year. I'm confident that we can do it, everyone. It would be a dream come true. It's rare that I show fights like these, but I feel it demonstrates how easily Flavorless is tearing through the early game with Confusion on our side. This being a Gen 1 remake, there are a lot of poison types in the game, and Confusion does work against all of them. After defeating Super Nerd Miguel with ease, I make sure to grab the Helix Fossil. It's been a little while since the events of the Dome vs. Helix video. I feel safe showing some love to all of the Lord Helix supporters out there. As we come into Cerulean City, I want to discuss Flavorless's ability. Unlike Caterpie and Metapod, whose ability helped us to avoid status conditions, Butterfree's Compound Eyes is going to help dish them out. It increases the accuracy of our moves by 30%, so status moves like Sleep Powder hit with 97.5% accuracy. Can you guess where this is going? At only Rival 2, welcome to our primary strategy with Flavorless for the rest of the game. At level 15, we learned Sleep Powder, outspeeding and putting Pidgeotto to sleep right away. 1, 2, 3, 4 confusions later, and Birdbrain slept away, having the weirdest dreams until being knocked out. Charmander is then a rinse and repeat. I do get somewhat lucky in this battle with his main threat sleeping for several turns, but our speed combined with a high accuracy sleep move gives us a lot of control in battle. Nothing slows us down on the next route. I didn't even bother picking up TM43's secret power. I felt that since the majority of our attacks after evolving would be special, the modest nature would give us the most benefit, increasing special attack while lowering attack. With the power of hindsight, this may change in the next run, but we'll get there. Our next target is Misty. I have my Persimberry from next to the Poké Center before Mount Moon equipped, but we aren't going to need it against Staryu. I outspeed, putting it to sleep immediately, and then 2 confusions take it out, but next is the more threatening Starmie. Starmie outspeeds us, hitting Water Pulse and confusing, activating our held berry as we use Sleep Powder. In Mount Moon, I did diverge to grab TM46 Thief. Starmie is the water psychic type, meaning that she would resist confusion. Thief, on the other hand, as a dark move, is special in Gen 3, dealing super effective damage for just under half. She does heal her HP, but otherwise sleeps for the remainder of the battle. We grab our second badge. On the way south to Vermilion City and the SSN, I did grab my army of Meowths. I have Flavorless's IVs, or individual values, set at near perfect, but lowered slightly, giving me a hidden power type of Ice with a base power of 70. I'm going to lean away from using it, but I can't deny it. I definitely have my doubts about the late game. I grab only the trash can berries on the SSN, and we're ready for Rival 3. I hope you're all ready to hear a lot of this. I lead by putting Pidgeotto to sleep. He sleeps until we bring him to Red Bar with confusions, getting in a single gust, but it's too late for Birdbrains. Charmeleon is a similar story. The ability to hit sleep with near 100% accuracy is so powerful. I chose the Charmander line team for our rival as I felt that Charizard would provide the most challenge to us. It seems though that as long as we outspeed, we have a relatively good shot at victory. Rival 3 falls, and it's time for us to face our next gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. We have a type disadvantage here, being weak to electric moves, but it seems that, once again, we have enough speed to take control of the battle early. I was confident enough in this battle that I didn't even heal fully before coming in. Sleep and Confusion work through his Voltorb and Pikachu, bringing out the Ace Raichu. He outspeeds us, going for double team, but we still hit through with Sleep Powder. Surge did use a full heal when I put his Pikachu to sleep, but I wonder if he only has the one. There are so many things about these games that I still don't know. Raichu snoozes away as we take him out for our third badge. Absolutely nothing of note happens until we find ourselves in the Rocket Hideout facing Giovanni for the first time. We're still rolling with the same moveset of Confusion, Thief, Sleep Powder, and Stun Spore, which I think I've used like once. In this early part of the mid-game, there are a lot of options available, among them being able to grab TM29 Psychic in Saffron City, almost doubling our damage output. In this first run, I made the mistake of choosing to hold off on Psychic, as Flavorless was moving through trainers up until this point without issue. It's against Kangaskhan that the lacking power of Confusion really shows, hitting for very little damage. He, on the other hand, after a Tail Whip or two, can land a massive Mega Punch, almost taking us out. Kangaskhan has the ability Early Bird as well, so keeping it asleep is very difficult. He takes us out for another reset. This is a big reason why I really enjoy doing 2 playthroughs. I will always make a lot of mistakes in my first runs that I can think about and hopefully correct in my second playthroughs. Stun Spore is essentially a dead move spot, and I could easily teach Psychic over it for the higher damage while keeping Confusion for the higher PP. I get a bit of good luck in this battle with Kanga hitting himself in Confusion and then take him down. The benefit of having Psychic earlier would have helped against Giovanni, but it also would have been a great help in the upcoming Erica battle. Her Victory Bell and Vileplume both share the Grass and Poison typing. In this playthrough though, I was confident that Confusion would be enough, so I head to her gym, clearing the trainers on the right side for the special attack EVs before challenging Erica. Sleep tactics are almost universally powerful, so yes, absolutely, I'm going to continue using them here. Asleep and unable to threaten us, her lead Victory Bell falls to 2 Confusions, leveling us up to 34. We now learn Psybeam, finally an upgrade to Confusion. It's only 15 base power higher, but hey, I'll take it. I can then use more Sleep Powders and now Psybeams to take out her Tangela and Vileplume in the back. I can't help but feel though, if we'd been using Psychic, we would have been one-shotting her, or darn close. Flavorless cleans up an easy 4th badge. I scoot over to Saffron quickly to do a little bit of shopping and pick up TM29 Psychic, finally. Now that we have Psybeam though, I'm still not going to teach Psychic for a long time. My thinking was that I wanted the 20 PP of Psybeam over the higher power but only 10 PP of Psychic. There are in fact a lot of fodder Pokemon in the upcoming section, and having the flexibility of higher PP will allow for cleaner routing. Power points are going to be a big issue later, but here in the mid-game it's more about avoiding Pokécenter trips. Our next bit of progression lies at Pokemon Tower behind Rival 4. As you can see, including some sleepy time tactics, our moveset is actually fairly well-rounded for type coverage. We can hit everything except for Steel for at least neutral damage, but I'm about to make an error that I feel causes a significant amount of pain for the rest of the run. Jumping back to PP management though, I have just run out and cannot put Gyarados to sleep, but we have enough health remaining to outdamage him and take the victory. This is perfect as we're about to get a free heal near the top of the tower. We'll jump ahead to Silphco to discuss my error. I'm doing a full run of high-value item collection with Flavorless, and along that path lay a trainer or two that I don't usually mind battling as they give decent XP and EVs. Team Rocket Grunt here has 2 Raticates and a Hypno for 4 speed and 2 special defense, and a total XP yield of 2382. He's usually quite quick, but my mistake was loving Giga Drain too much. I taught it over Thief, so now we only have a 5 PP option against Psychic types, of which there are a lot ahead of us. As a result, we failed to take down Rocket Grunt X here, with Hypno finishing us off because of our lack of damage output. That lack of damage output is going to become a more and more common theme as we continue progressing towards the late game. Against Rival 5, it's becoming more and more clear against his Pidgeot, as it takes 4 shots to take him down, waking up but fortunately only hitting a Feather Dance. Charizard then comes out, outspeeds, and ends us with Flamethrower. I try again, actually surviving Flamethrower this time with 2 HP, but 2 hit points is not much to go off of in this battle. I managed to take out Charizard, but we are barely holding on here, with Exeggcute eventually taking me out because we were taking so many turns to bring it down. Well, that's not happening right now, so I go to the department store to sell our loot, buy our vitamins, and progress down towards Fuchsia City. Given our base speed, I'm assuming that at this level we're very close to outspeeding that Charizard, so completing this section of the game will hopefully give us the edge that we need. Our next gym leader is Kogar, where we find ourselves once again at an advantage with a Psychic type move. Koga's team is the Poison type and rely heavily on evasion tactics as well. Psybeam is enough to carry us, though I once again feel that having taught Psychic over Sunspore would have given us much better ranges, particularly against Muck and Weezing as we one-shot the Coughings. I'm still carrying around Stunspore. I have no idea why. I think I actually forgot that this move slot existed for most of the mid-game. The power of Sleep and super effective Psybeam give us a clean victory, acquiring our 5th badge. It's now back to Sylph to try and defeat Rival 5 and finish the Rockets. We're now at level 43, and look at these ranges against Pidgeot. Psybeam is going to take him out in 3, while I feel that Psychic would have absolutely only taken 2. All of these extra turns are costing me time and adding risk. Charizard is out, and we now outspeed, putting him to sleep. He wakes up at around half health, but instead of doing damage, he uses Scary Face and a follow-up Smokescreen. This allows us to take him down, although slower and less accurate. My attacking moves are Psybeam and Giga Drain, so I have little to no damage output against both Exeggcute and Alakazam, with them being able to take me down. I gotta say, it is darn near insulting to lose to this Alakazam. His only attacking move is Future Sight. I somewhat figure out that whole damage output thing, finally teaching Psychic over Psybeam. Still keeping Stun Spore for some reason. Pidgeot is now a 2-shot and Charizard a 3-shot, bringing in some much-needed safety. Our damage against Exeggcute is still an issue though, but with the help of a critical Psychic, he falls after paralyzing us. I saved my Giga Drains for Alakazam this time, using them to recover a bit and take him out. Gyarados then hits the field, and because we're paralyzed, he overwhelms us quickly with Bite, Dragon Rage, and a little help from a previously cast Future Sight. Alright, we've got this. One more attempt. Exeggcute stayed asleep this time, so we didn't end up getting paralyzed, although I do have a Cherry Berry equipped as well. Without being paralyzed, the odds tilt back in our favor, and we can finally defeat Rival 5. I grab my Lapras and quickly finish the Rockets before taking on Sabrina. With so many of my runs, I've kept my special attackers as mixed attackers simply to get past Sabrina more easily. Her Psychic types tend to be more physically frail, and my offensive moves are still Psychic, which is resisted at 10 pp, and Giga Drain at 5 pp. Not great. The power of having a highly accurate sleep move cannot be understated though, as we make our way all the way through her team until her ace Alakazam in decent shape. But after so many attacks leading here and then so many more being soaked up by the Double Spoon, Psy Pokemon, we run out of power points. We're then quickly defeated after running out. I tried again, losing again, so it's back to Cerulean City. I neglected to pick up TM40 Aerial Ace, thinking that the odds of us needing it were incredibly low. Well, thanks to teaching Giga Drain so early, that need is realized, and I finally get rid of Stun Spore. Oh, thank you, past me. Editing me was really starting to cringe. Despite our attack being much lower and our nature lowering it even further, Stab Aerial Ace redefines this battle for us. We're able to carve through her team much more easily, as despite it being our weaker stat, physical defense is also very much hers. I still use Psychic for Venomoth as it's super effective, but even her Ace Alakazam now only takes 3 hits to bring down. We walk away with our 6th badge in hand. We're about to face a big problem in the upcoming section though. Blaine holds our next badge, and as the Fire-type leader, we're in for a hard time against him. Usually I don't do this immediately in the first playthroughs, but I elect to clear all of the trainers in his gym for the experience and speed EVs. We're strong enough to one-shot most of the Pokemon in here with Psychic, though I do have to make an extra trip or two to the center. I finish my training, and let's take our first shot at Blaine for the Volcano badge. We lean on, as you would expect, our sleep tactics once again. Part of the reason I was so willing to clear this gym of trainers is that there are so many speed EVs. Our ability to outspeed our opponents is critical to the strategy that we're using, especially once we get into the leagues. We're only 2 levels higher, and using our tactics we can get through the majority of his team. His ace Arcanine hits the field and we continue with our strategy, but Arcanine reveals the flaw in it, waking up immediately and taking us out from full with Fire Blast. I end up doing some grinding, but really this is just a matter of being able to keep Arcanine asleep for enough turns to knock him out. If another Pokemon wakes up mid-battle and hits us, that's unfortunate, but even at this level, Arcanine is able to one-shot us. I have a bit of a secret weapon though. At level 47, Flavorless learned Silver Wind, a 60 power bug move with a 10% chance of an Omni boost, increasing all of our primary stats except HP by 1 stage. I was just using it for a little bit of chip damage here, but I get the Omni boost, so when Arcanine wakes up and hits his Fire Blast this time, we survive no problem because of that boost. We can then polish off Arcanine, netting our 7th badge. Since we are pursuing a round 2 finish as our end goal, I'll say yes to Bill after exiting Blaine's gym to complete the first part of the Sevi Island plotline so we don't need to backtrack later. After completing that and clearing only the mandatory trainers in the final gym, we're ready to take on our final gym leader. Here we finally see Giga Drain being put to use effectively. I use it to take out both of his Rhyhorns before switching to Psychic for his Dugtrio and Nidos. Let's face it though, we all know that Psychic alone would have solved this battle. Giga Drain is typically an incredible useful move for its recovery. We have another move that's available to us right now which is going to be much more effective than Giga Drain for recovery, but I'm holding off teaching it until I absolutely need to. Regardless, I feel the Giga Drain will not make an appearance on the moveset next run. We finish off Giovanni, claiming our 8th badge. We have one final challenge before facing the Pokemon League, Rival 6. This battle is typically a great preview for what awaits us at the Round 1 champion, but really, as a compound-ized Butterfree, Flavorless's struggle still remains getting in enough damage before they wake up. We stay in control, doing just that all the way through his team, with Gyarados waking up and giving us a sharp reminder after hitting a big Hydro Pump, that although we feel very much in control, things can turn around in an instant. We finish off our rival and set our sights on the Round 1 Elite Four. Lorelei kicks us off. We're at level 58 coming into this league, sporting a moveset of Psychic, Giga Drain, Sleep Powder, and Silver Wind. Most of her team consists of bulkier water types, so our Psychics aren't doing too much against her lead Dugong, switching to Giga Drain in hopes of doing more damage. It takes a few more turns, but we do knock out Dugong, bringing out Slowbro. Slowbro is bulkier and has the Psychic type, so our Psychics will be doing even less damage. But wait, I have Silver Wind! Including a crit, we take down Slowbro. That was much easier than I thought. So I get overconfident against Jinx, missing the one-shot, and she puts us to sleep, and we get taken down. I try again immediately, and this time against Slowbro we don't get the crit, but we do get the more likely Omni Boost. With that in our corner, I feel like this battle is over. We take down Slowbro, and because of the boosts to our attack, we can now one-shot Jinx, once again skipping putting her to sleep. Lapras and Cloyster can then be cleaned up without too much threat to Flavorless. Let's move on to our second league member, Bruno. In theory, we should have a relatively easy time here. Giga Drain can handle his Onyxuses, while super effective Psychics with Sleep Powder should take care of his fighting types. We resist the fighting type by 4 times, being Bug and Flying. The Bug type being resistant to fighting never made a lot of sense to me, but hey, I understand that some interactions have to be a little odd for balance purposes. Not everything can be as simple as Fire weak to Water. The thing is, with Bruno though, he did get a few upgrades in the Gen 3 remakes, including a bunch of rock moves on his Pokemon. Machamp wakes up early, hitting a 4-time super effective Rock Tomb, yes, Tomb not Slide, taking us out from over 3/4 health. Okay, so I just played a Machamp and know that this thing's ability is Guts. He just really doesn't want to stay asleep, but this time he misses the 80% Rock Tomb and we take him down. The rest of Bruno's team falls easily, but we're about to hit a problem that I mentioned earlier against Agatha. I won't bring us into the battle quite yet, but here is how Flavorless is looking between the battles. Our overall poor damage output against Lorelei has cost us dearly in a resource that we don't have a whole lot of flexibility with, our power points. We're flat out of damaging moves aside from a single Silver Wing at only the 3rd league member, in the 1st league. PP restoring items are a scarce resource, so once again I find myself contemplating how to solve a problem. I make the call to leave the league given this is my first time here and we're on such a shaky foundation only 2 trainers in. Agatha takes me down for another reset and I take the whiteout, grabbing my team from the PC, and let's go find some solutions to tilt the odds back in our favor. My first upgrade will be Dream Eater. Since sleep is our primary tactic, Dream Eater pairs incredibly nicely, having 5 more PP and 10 more base power than Psychic. It also restores us for half of the damage that we deal, rendering Giga Drain kinda useless. The reason I didn't pick this up earlier is because it requires the foe to be asleep, whereas Psychic can just be used all the time. It felt like the right choice when we didn't need the additional damage and PP, as we didn't have to waste several additional turns putting, say, a biker's coughing to sleep before being able to knock it out. I then pop over to Celadon City, where I grab the coin case and spend 10,000 Pokédollars for 1,000 coins. I can then pop next door and grab the Miracle Seed. Since we do have Giga Drain, we might as well take as much advantage of it as we can. The Miracle Seed increases the damage of our Grass-type moves by 10% while held, hopefully making the 5 PP of Giga Drain feel less lacking. Coming right back into Agatha, that hasn't really been the case. It's been an interesting shift in the first few battles in this league. We've had worse sleep luck and have only 3 PP of sleep powder left. This also really hurts us, as our primary attacking move against her is Dream Eater, for which the opponent needs to be asleep. We reset again, and I'm going to skip ahead a bit now. I've gone around the region collecting a few PP restoring items and used 4 rare candies before starting this league, taking us to level 70. This granted us some better ranges against the earlier trainers, conserving more PP. I've also used the PP ups I've collected on Dream Eater, so between it and Ether supplemented sleep powder, I hope we're ready for a full league push. With all of the power points that we need, Agatha is a piece of cake, as her entire round 1 team is the poison type, weak to our Dream Eaters. Finally, we're ready to move on to Lance. The Dragon Master has a team of fairly bulky Pokémon that are all capable of dealing big damage. Even the unevolved Dragonairs can cause problems with paralysis. Flavorless is going to have to be on his game in this battle, and we start strong, taking out Gyarados using Silver Wind for some chip damage but not getting the boost. We're starting to run low on Sleep Powder PP, but the bigger problem is when Dragonite wakes up, putting up Safeguard. Now guarded from sleep for 5 turns, we can use Resisted Silver Wind or 4 times Resisted Giga Drain. We take a reset as we flounder. I reset once more, and now in this attempt, I understand. Actually, I understand nothing. Our luck simply aligned. Instead of going for Safeguard this time, Dragonite wakes up and uses Hyper Beam. Damage I will happily take as we put him back to sleep and take him down. We're actually speedy enough to overtake Aerodactyl, moving first and putting him to sleep as well. Something a little frustrating happens though. We fight to keep the prehistoric dino asleep, but he ends up landing a scary face after waking up. We take him down, but at only 69 health, nice, we could be in trouble at -2 speed. We do still outspeed the Dragonairs though, putting the first to sleep and finishing it with Dream Eater, recovering to around 3/4 health. We get a bit of bad luck against the final Dragonair with its Shed Skin ability curing the sleep on the first turn. I use my last sleep powder, putting it back to sleep, and it sticks, so we finish the battle with Dream Eater. Whew, that was too close. We have one more challenge in round 1, the champion. Things go a little off at the start of the battle as we miss our first sleep powder, but luckily Pidgeot only went for the damage, hitting Aerial Ace for under half. We get him to sleep and knock him out, recovering back to full, but even if we weren't capped off, Giga Drain against Rhydon would have. Charizard, though, is problematic. After a few turns, he wakes up hitting a massive Fire Blast that we survive at 7 HP, 4% of our max. That hurt. We get him back to sleep and start recovering with Dream Eater, but he wakes up again and takes us out. Fair enough, my guy, fair enough. Let's try again and get this Charizard taken care of. We put him to sleep and start working the strategy, but it turns out that Fire Blast is a range as he wakes up doing 100% of our health this time for another reset. When you're relying on sleep, especially in Gen 2 and later because you can move the turn you wake up, things can go wrong very quickly. I've used 3 more rare candies, bringing us up to level 75 over 2 damage rounding thresholds. I wasn't going for the damage though, I was going for the special defense. We can now tank a Fire Blast more reliably, so despite a few wake-up turns and heals, we finally take down the big unit. Silver Wind then gives us a super effective option against Alakazam and a 4 times super effective option against Exeggutor. I can then clean up Gyarados in the back with more Dream Eaters. Flavorless has become the round 1 champion. It seems to be a common thing among these bug types. Get past Charizard and win the champion battle. He's a very tough foe, of that there is no doubt. Flavorless clocks in with a round 1 time of whoops. In all of those trips in and out of the league, I guess I forgot to deposit my team this time. 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 37 seconds at level 75 with 25 resets. This took 5 hours and 53 minutes of game time. It is so important though to remember that we are frail and sleep tactics can fall apart very quickly. While clearing out the final Rocket admin in the 5-island warehouse, his Houndoom gets 2 turn 1 wake-ups in a row, followed by a turn 2 wake-up. That's a lot more flamethrowers than Flavorless can handle, and we reset while unlocking the Round 2 League. That's a rare thing for me. Speaking of, let's jump in. Along with some team and moveset changes, the League teams have been powered up by around 12 levels. We're still sporting the same moveset of Sleep Powder, Dream Eater, Giga Drain, and Silverwind. Things are going well enough as we're working our way through Lorelei's team when, of all of her team members, it's Piloswine that wakes up, hitting a 4-time super effective Rock Slide for almost 80% of our health. Ouch! We get him back to sleep and take him down, finishing the battle, recovering back to full health between Leftovers and Dream Eater. Unreal. It's Bruno time. Round 2 Bruno has his Onyx Assisses upgraded to Steel Assisses, so our Giga Drain is less effective against him, with Dream Eater being resisted now. We're following our same sleep tactics, but Round 2 Bruno has had other upgrades as well. Once his Ace Machamp is on the field, we put him to sleep, shocker I know, but miss the one-shot, allowing him to wake up on the next turn and end us with a 4-time super effective Rock Slide. We barely survived Rock Tomb from a proportionally lower-leveled Machamp. After more failure, it's time to leave the league once again. This time I'm way out on 7 Island, heading to my favorite grinding spot in the late game. We don't need EVs, we just need that juicy experience. I didn't feel like there was any getting around it anymore. One wake up and we're done for, so I'm hoping we'll either clear them out faster or start surviving the hits with some grinding. I had the forethought to grab the Versus Seeker from the Cool Trainer in Vermilion City Poké Center, and I use it here to face these 2 trainers over and over. I love this spot because the house right here has a man and his Chansey inside. If you do the dance with them, you'll get a full heal, just like a Poké Center, giving you that Energizer energy. You can just keep going and going and going. Not sponsored, by the way. We jump back into Bruno at level 83 over 2 damage rounding thresholds. It's giving us better damage output, that's for sure, but the even better news is it seems that we now have a razor-thin margin of surviving Machamp. I do mean razor-thin, as he wakes up hitting Rock Slide, taking us from full to 2 hit points, less than 1%. Flavorless, my man, I'll get you a massage after this. Machamp ends up waking up again and takes us down with another Rock Slide. Coming right back in at Machamp again, we see a similar situation. This time we survive at 9 HP. Sweet, and manage to finally take down Machamp. Funny enough, despite how much of a struggle that Machamp was, once we regained control in the battle, we managed to heal back to full health by the time we finished the battle. What a strange Pokemon to run. Bruno falls, and we move on to Agatha. Between leagues, I grabbed the PP Max from 2 Island, maxing Sleep Powder. We're getting low at this point, but as long as we don't get unlucky, we should have the PP for Agatha. We're outspeeding, which continues to be fantastic, but against Mischievous, since it doesn't share the poison typing, we hit for neutral damage and don't take it out in 1. As such, she gets off a few heals, so despite being able to take down Mischievous, I think we're now too slim on power points. I continue fighting the battle when I learn something new. Agatha's Ace Gengar is wearing a Chesto Berry. I have not encountered that before, and she wakes up instantly, hitting a super effective Thunderbolt and getting the paralysis. I mean, if you're gonna learn something, learn it hard. We get taken out again. 2 changes in the next battle. First, against Mischievous, I don't mess up this time, taking it down with 2 Dream Eaters. We cruise through Crobat, and out comes the Ace Gengar. She wakes up with her berry again, hitting a massive Thunderbolt again, but this time not getting the paralysis. Outspeeding here is so key, as we can maintain control, putting her back to sleep. This time it sticks, and we take her out. Arbok in the back is an easy cleanup. Cool beans. 2 trainers to go. Let's take on Dragon Doctoral Lance. It's been a while since I mentioned why I call him this. If he was a Dragon Master in Round 1, surely in Round 2 he's progressed his Dragon career, right? With a minor in Flying types, of course. Things aren't going very well against his lead Gyarados as he wakes up and paralyzes us before hitting a massive Hyper Beam. I think we're in big trouble on this one as Gyarados switches out and Aerodactyl hits the field. The cherry on top is that we're now fully paralyzed that turn. Aerodactyl obviously outspeeds, hitting Ancient Power for the knockout and throwing some extra salt on, getting the Omni boost. All your seconds are belong to me, says Lance. So, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea what's about to happen in this Lance battle. It isn't because I haven't reviewed the footage, but it's more because it's all so chaotic. Gyarados swaps out again, so we're sleeping and then silencing his team members one by one until Gyarados is back out to reveal my genius. We miss a Sleep Powder, a rare thing thankfully, and Gyarados hits Thunder Wave, but our Cherry Berry activates. Fwahahaha! I put him to sleep and take him out. Alright, time for the round 2 champion. Against his lead Heracross, we see a worst-case scenario unfold very quickly. Flavorless's primary advantage with Compound Eyes has been our speed, so once Heracross wakes up, he hits a nasty Rock Tomb for a lot of damage, sure, but it lowers our speed by 1 stage. We take down Heracross, but I have my doubts about this one now. Tyranitar is next, and I'm actually shocked by the amount of damage that Silverwind is doing. That's incredible, we take down the Gen 2 Pseudo in 2 shots. Charizard is out, and with our speed lowered, we don't stand a chance. Fire Blast ends it. In the next attempt, after missing the range against Heracross again, I decided to add in some chip damage before going for the knockout with Dream Eater, this time moving forward with our speed intact. Tyranitar gets taken down next, with our first Silverwind getting the Omni boost. We outspeed his Ace Charizard, putting him to sleep, then at +1, Dream Eater does enough damage to take him out. Silverwind continues being incredibly useful, handling Alakazam and Exeggutor with ease. Gyarados as well is in the mood for a nap, so we take him down. Flavorless is the round 2 champion. Who needs all of those calories anyway? Going Butterfree seems to be a very good choice. Difficult at times, but overall very effective. Flavorless clocks in with a round 2 time of 2 hours, 33 minutes, and 1 second at level 86 with 35 resets. This took 8 hours and 10 minutes of game time. Alright, let's jump into our second playthrough and check out the changes that I made. Anything that is very similar to the first playthrough, I'm just going to be glossing over, sticking primarily to the things that change. As always, the first change is to make sure I only have a 1-character name. Second, I've switched to the bashful nature for 2 reasons. It's neutral this time, leaving our stats unchanged, and among the 5 neutral natures, having a bashful Butterfree felt the most appropriate. With our new nature, we do better against the rival in the lab, but still get our butts whooped. Such is life as a Caterpie. This time I'm defeating every wild battle I encounter, but running from level 4s. They're just too strong. My plan is to grind to level 7, evolving into Metapod before heading to the forest. On my way through this time, I battled 2 trainers, including the mandatory bug catcher Sammy, then hop up to Pewter City to restore my power points before coming back to the forest to battle bug catcher Charlie with his Metapods. Any remaining experience that we need I will grab on the way back out of the forest, leveling us up to 10 and evolving into Butterfree. I'm not sure if this was 100% the most optimal way of doing this, but it did feel like the safest. Viridian Forest messed me up a lot in my testing. All trained up, let's face Brock. Leaning on the strategy I figured out last run, I'm setting up 6 Hardens against Geodude before going on the offense. The thing is, we got reasonably lucky last run in this battle. This strategy works, but is inconsistent. This is going to be a common theme in this run though. Geodude does too much damage to us, including a crit, putting us in range of a Rock Tomb KO well before we can take out Onix. That's an early reset. Make that 3 early resets as Geodude and Onix crit once each, and I'm getting a little worried. In our 4th attempt, Geodude is all about that defense though, using a lot more curls than tackles. We take him down at 31 out of 35 health going into Onix. This is what I needed. With our health this high, Onix is only going to be going for binds and tackles, allowing us to take him out as well at 29 out of 35 health. Nearly full health after 3 resets. Oh, RNG. They cost us, but we're still 30 seconds ahead of last run. I had been tempted by a nature that increased our speed, you'll see why in the late game, but it actually ruined the Brock battle. With a plus speed nature, Rock Tomb's priority increased and made this battle far more risky. It occurred to me that I didn't show where to pick up Thief in the first playthrough. Going down the second ladder from the entrance in Mount Moon leads down this tunnel to a rocket, a hidden ether in the rock, and TM46 Thief. For Butterfree, I feel like there isn't a single thing down here that isn't useful for us. Before leaving the cave, I make sure to grab the Helix fossil. We're all about that Helix, no dome. At this point, we've unlocked our sleep tactics, so I'm gonna begin focusing less on the battles and more on the routing. The battles aren't the most consistent at times, but I feel like this is the quickest way to get Butterfree through the game. I defeat Rival 2 and set my sights on Misty. Staryu is no issue, and even with a misclick going for confusion, we still have enough safety against it to bring down Misty's ace. We finished the battle at only 8 health, but I felt like instead of going for the knockout, I could have put her back to sleep if I wanted the additional safety. Next is an easy battle against Rival 3 on the SSN. I once again have caught my army of Meowths and chosen HP Ice once again. In hindsight, after playing this second run, there's a big part of me that wonders if HP Water would have been better, but more on that later. Lieutenant Surge is our next spot of trouble. Voltorb and Pikachu are not much concern, but in this battle his Raichu outspeeds going for double team, causing us to miss Sleep Powder. We then miss our follow-up Sleep Powder, leading us into a spiral from which we cannot recover. Once he switches to offense, Butterfree falls to Raichu's stab super effective shockwaves. After another reset, the Raichu forgot his morning coffee and naps for a little bit longer this time. It still gets a little close at the end, with us surviving at only 13 HP, but we take him down this time. I really wanted to push the limits with Butterfree, so this will likely be a high reset second run, especially with my upcoming league strategies. But we'll get to those, let's cruise through the mid-game. While editing, I had to go frame by frame, but despite our 30-second lead at Brock, we ended up 14 milliseconds behind at Misty, and now 1 minute and 37 seconds behind after defeating Surge. It's cool though, there are some big changes in the mid-game. I suffer another reset against Giovanni in the Rocket Hideout, but we're following the same path as last run. The only exception is that before coming to the hideout, I popped over to Saffron, unlocking the Fly Point and grabbing TM29 Psychic. With Giovanni defeated, I head straight to Erica's gym again. Psychic rolls through her team, barely missing the one-shot against Vileplume, but I had her put to sleep, so we're safe. We grab a quick 4th badge. I defeat Rival 4, and we're back in Saffron, grabbing our items out of Silphco. I'm not gonna bother challenging Rival 5 this time, only grabbing what I need for cash before buying my vitamins and heading to Fuchsia, following the same route as last time. Psychic destroys Koga, and I fight one additional trainer on the way back to Silph, so we're level 43 once again before challenging Rival 5. I equip a Citrus Berry for safety, and let's do this. We put Pidgeot to sleep, and then 2 Psychics just barely miss the knockout, taking a chunky wing attack as a result. We do take him down, but out comes the big threat Charizard. Sleep and Psychic carry us all the way through our rival's biggest threat. You can now see another change that I've made in this mid-game. I've kept Butterfree as a mixed attacker, learning Return and using it against Psychic types like Exeggcute, the Abraline, and Drowsyline. It has simplified my life so much. I can take down the rival's team without taking any additional damage. Our next target is Sabrina, before whom I will be clearing all of the trainers in her gym for the experience and special attack EVs. While grinding, we leveled to 47, learning Silverwind, using it to wipe the floor with Sabrina. We find ourselves quickly on Cinnabar Island, where Butterfree is going to face its most threatening opponent in the gym challenge. As such, we're going to be doing a little bit more grinding, defeating all of the trainers in Blaine's gym and a few swimmers in the surrounding area, getting us to level 53 before challenging the man himself. This battle proves, though, that as long as things stay asleep, Butterfree is fine to take on almost anything. We can carve through his team, using our moveset as it's been for most of the mid-game with the exception of Silverwind replacing Return, but also sporting Psychic, Psybeam, and Sleep Powder. I found this gave enough power in key battles while also having enough PP to navigate the battles in between. Everything has been snoozing away until Arcanine wakes up, but it's cool, he misses. Barring a crit though, we would have been fine. We finish the battle snagging our 7th badge. It's then off to the Sevi Islands with us to help Bill and Celio, rescuing Lostel along the way. My goal is to be leveled up to 58 before entering the league, so we have a little bit of work to do, but I've been sticking fairly diligently to only the mandatory trainers. I'm saving any final grinding that I can for Victory Road, where the experience density is highest. Giovanni falls to 5 Psychics, and then I'll cruise past Rival 6 as we're about to see him, but better, and the Round 1 champion battle. We did reset twice, but only because of well-placed crits from the rival. I'll also note that after a bit of hardship in the early game, we're now just over 12 minutes ahead of last run. After completing the last bit of grinding and using 7 rare candies, bringing Butterfree to level 65, we're ready for the Round 1 League. Against Lorelei, we see a very similar battle to last run. Her Pokemon are bulky enough that I had to play around with PP usage and the ranges of damage against her team, but I've got it mostly figured out, I feel. 2 Dream Eaters with a Silver Wind in between solves Dugong. 2 Silver Winds with some Chip handles Slowbro. 1 Silver Wind handles Jinx. It's when Lapras hits the field that we get some bad luck. She brings us all the way down to 18 HP, so things are starting to look a little dire. But then our luck does a 180, putting her back to sleep and getting 2 critical Dream Eaters in a row, taking down the Ace Lapras and healing us back to around 3/4 health. Cloyster is then an easy cleanup, bringing us back to full health. Dream Eater is nuts. We progress to our second Elite Four member, Bruno. He gets the better of us a few times, and there's nothing really that I can do when Machamp wakes up and brutalizes us with a Rock Tomb crit. I now am sporting my final moveset, including using PP ups that I collected. I have Dream Eater at +2, Sleep Outer at +2, HP Ice, and Silver Wind. HP Ice handles his Onyxuses, with Dream Eater working through the rest. At this level, we can't quite one-shot the Hitmons, but once again, if things stay asleep or at least wake up far enough apart, we've got this. His final Onyx falls, and we're ready for Agatha, whom I am going to skip right past. Sleep Powder, Dream Eater. 10 turns, 5 knockouts. We'll see a very similar battle against her in round 2, so let's move on to Lance. Lance is going to be where my strategy became purely to rely on luck. I'll be doing it in, hopefully, the most efficient manner that I can. Silver Wind is fantastic. Getting that Omni boost is battle-changing, and it's exactly what I'm aiming to do. I keep Gyarados asleep, hunting for an Omni boost and getting one early in this battle. I feel that this, barring doing a bunch of additional grinding, is the fastest way through Lance. Aerodactyl's stab, 4x super effective ancient power, is incredibly deadly. We wouldn't survive one until being leveled into the high 70s, but outspeed in the low 70s. I want to save my last rare candies for now, so fishing for that Omni boost and the +1 to speed is going to save us a ton of grinding, despite the potential for additional resets. We fell the Dragon Master and are ready to take on the round 1 champion. The best part is that because I allow myself to save between league members, I can do tricky little things like this. I am, after all, mainly focused on real-time completion. We're hunting for another Omni boost against Pidgeot this time, resetting twice, having not gotten it. With that boost, this battle becomes consistent enough that even after Pidgeot wakes up multiple times and Rhydon wakes up, hitting a stab 4x super effective Rock Tomb, lowering our speed, we're still in decent shape. That boost was planned primarily for Charizard, still being faster at neutral speed, putting him to sleep. The boost gives Dream Eater enough damage to 2-shot him, and trust me, having that added level of consistency made a huge difference. I can then cruise through his team using our last Silver Winds against Alakazam and HP Ice for Exeggutor. We heal up with Dream Eaters, taking out Gyarados in the back, easy as pie. Oh yeah, coming into the league with experience and a plan makes such a difference. I know I mention it a lot, but wow. Butterfree clocks in with a round 1 time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 33 seconds at level 69, nice, with 11 resets. This took 5 hours and 13 minutes of game time. There aren't any additional changes that I made moving towards the round 2 league. I cleared the remaining Sevi Island plotline, and having HP Ice on my side this time made it a lot faster. I did not have to put every single opponent to sleep to knock them out this time. I wrap up the Rockets, then make one more quick trip over to Seven Island to defeat one final trainer. This levels us up to 73, then I use the last of our rare candies, leveling us up to 78. Okay, round 2, here we come. Lorelei's round 2 fight remains largely unchanged from round 1 for Butterfree. We put her to sleep and nom 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 on her dreams. We go into the battle proclaiming, "Hush little dugong, don't say a word, and never mind that noise you heard. I'm just the beast under your bed, in your closet, in your head." With the exception of Lapras waking up and getting in a big ice beam, we're in control and take her down. It's time for round 2 Bruno. Bruno remains a big threat. The only thing is though, if he stays asleep, then he's less threatening. We incur a total of 4 more resets to rock moves smashing Butterfree upon waking up, with his lead Steelix being particularly nasty. Having our speed lowered is a nearly impossible circumstance to overcome. At this level, we again lack the damage against the Hitmons, but switching between HP Ice and Dream Eater handles them, while taking down the Steelixes with a combination of 2 HP Ices and a Dream Eater. I feel like I've got Bruno fairly dialed in, so long as he snoozes for enough turns. Okay, let's show that Agatha battle I know you're all itching for. Round 2 Agatha is significantly more threatening than her Round 1 counterpart, but still a pretty easy battle. We have 2 lose conditions, missing a sleep powder at an inopportune moment, or her Ace Gengar, who does still outspeed us, getting a crit with Thunderbolt. I do have a Cherry Berry equipped again, not needing it in this battle. Including a Misclank against Mischievous, we're fairly safe enough though, carving through the majority of her team with Sleep Powder and super effective Dream Eaters. That's 3 down and 1 to go. Lance. I swap from a Chesto to a Cherry Berry for the Dragon Doctoral because Paralysis is a death sentence. This gives me usually enough turns to try using all 4 of my remaining Silver Winds, fishing once again for that Omni boost. It's for the same reason as the last league as well, that Aerodactyl is a monster. At 208 speed, we won't outspeed him until we're leveled into the 90s, and wouldn't survive Ancient Power until the late 90s. Why would we make ourselves suffer like that when I can just do a few extra resets and avoid it all? I reset a total of 7 times against Lance, actually getting one after being boosted but getting crit. We're more than powerful enough to handle this guy. Well, boosted anyway. We take down Lance, finishing off the Elite Four. We have one final challenge, the Round 2 champion. We lead off against Heracross, where Dream Eater will not be doing enough damage for the one-shot. I have to add some chip damage in with Silver Wind, but end up still missing the range. He falls soon after, and we're in good shape. In the next bit against Tyranitar and then Charizard, I want to discuss my hidden power choice. In my previous runs, I've discovered that Psychic and Ice pair incredibly well, giving very diverse coverage. As such, I went with Ice, but upon reflecting, there are a lot of battles where HP Ice was used where HP Water would have been more useful. Including against the champions Tyranitar and Charizard, we would have had a 140 power option against them. Things are starting to get really hairy against Charizard, especially with how many turns he ends up awake, but we do manage our way past him. Having more damage there would have felt good. Using HP Water though, I would have to be either more frugal with my Silver Winds or make an extra stop on 2 Island for the PP Max for Silver Wind. But what's done is done as we clean up the remainder of the champions team, ending the battle with some Butterfree swag at full health. The strategies that we used in this run were high risk but high reward. I feel like we were punished with enough resets throughout the run to call this a fair representation. Butterfree clocks in with a round 2 time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 10 seconds at level 81 with 22 resets. This took 6 hours and 33 minutes of game time. Butterfree was an interesting run to solve. I'm typically a much more conservative player, going for the more consistent and repeatable results. Butterfree is the first Pokemon that I've leaned into more risky strategies, relying more on finding ideal circumstances in the late game. We had a bit of a rough go at the start of the game, losing time through the 3rd and 4th badges, but then the updated routing and planning really started kicking in. We started regaining big chunks of time, ending the gym challenge 12 minutes and 16 seconds ahead. This resulted in finishing the Round 1 League over 23 minutes faster, and the Round 2 League 39 minutes and 51 seconds faster, 5 levels lower with 13 less resets. It also took an hour and 37 minutes less game time. On the tier list, this places Butterfree between Cacturne and Magneton. They both have higher base stat totals, illustrating just how powerful Compound Eyes and Sleep Powder was for us throughout the run. I want to extend a special thank you to those of you generous enough to support the channel via YouTube memberships, Patreon, and Super Chat. You keep me motivated to continue working hard and getting out the best possible content that I can. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. To wrap things up, it's clear that Butterfree was a fantastic companion and friend through this journey. Just like in the anime episode that tore all of our still beating hearts from our chests, it's time to set our Butterfree free. We've given him all that we can, and he's ready for his next adventure. He's off to Never Never Land. Yeah. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. The starter bugs have been a common request since I started making videos, so it was finally time to bring one to you. I have recently established the goal of having my channel reach 5,000 subscribers by 2024. If you can all help me reach that goal, my promise to you is that I will continue to work my butt off to show my thanks. If we hit 5,000 subs, I'll do a special episode, including a Q&A component to answer any questions that you may have about the man behind the egg. One thing at a time though, and I have lots more videos to keep working on for you. If you feel like I've earned it, consider leaving a like and comment about the run, what you'd like to see in the future, or just to say hi. Hello there! You can also show your support by, of course, hitting that sub button and enabling notifications to never miss a video. On this channel, we all know, substrats, best strats. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just need to go dab my eyes. It must be the allergies. I miss Butterfree. Until next time, take care everyone.